This is ENN with Ed Neusbit. Welcome back to ENN with Ed Neusbit. I'm Ed Neusbit. Today, beaches, bleaches, and bring back the teachers. But first, CDC Director Robert Redfield, a man who is single-handedly trying to bring back the Lincoln, is warning that we may have a second wave of COVID-19, likely worse than the current one. But several states have come up with a novel attack to this novel coronavirus. What better way to counter a wave than with a beach? As Florida recorded its highest number of new infections, it sent its citizens to the Golden Sands armed with only their bathing suits. There they frolicked with joyful abandon and hundreds of other idiots, but only from 6 to 11 a.m. and 5 to 8 p.m. Because if there's one thing we've learned about this deadly virus, it's that it takes a nap between 11 and 5. Here's Dr. Fauci to explain.
I have to say, this one caught me by surprise, Ed. COVID-19 can tell time. Now, it may not respect borders, but it does thrive on a schedule. So our recommendation now is to issue every American with a wristwatch, and between the hours of 12 noon and 4 p.m., they're encouraged to go out and mask together and basically party like there's no tomorrow. And we're giving an hour's grace either side of that to give them time to get where they're going and return home in time to self-quarantine.
Gotta tell you, Doctor, that makes a lot of sense. If you're all drugged up on hydroxychloroquine, that is.
April Fool, gotcha. No, it's total bull. Ed, we're still screwed.
Aha. And there I was foolishly thinking we needed a vaccine. Moving on. Yesterday, the president offered up yet another off-the-cuff, likely to poison people, untested remedy for COVID-19. It's not summer, it's not a miracle, and it's not Easter. No, this time it's introducing light into the body, and also disinfectant. As an injectable. Apparently, the coronavirus will be gone in 60 seconds. For more details, here's current White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. Kayleigh, this is tremendous news. Now, does it have to be an injection? What if I'm not a fan of needles? Could I simply pour bleach on my cornflakes?
Leave it to the media to take President Trump out of context. This president loves his country. He would never bring harm to Americans.
But Kayleigh, he said he'd seen a disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute and could do something like that with an injection. You're going to have people ingesting Clorox and Lysol.
Americans are smart enough to know not to drink toilet cleaner, Ed. The president didn't mean ingesting. He was talking ingest, as in making a joke. He was lifting American spirits.
Well, with 50,000 deaths and counting, that'll be a lot of lifting.
That's not a big number, Ed. What is a big number are those stimulus checks signed by President Trump himself. Did you pay yours in, Ed?
I most certainly did. Consider it a down payment on the tens of millions it's cost taxpayers for the 264 times President Trump has played golf.
Democrats.
Speaking of little balls, many small business owners recently applied for a special government loan during the pandemic, and a handful got their share of the $349 billion on offer. Small businesses such as Shake Shack, Harvard University, and Ruth's Chris, to name a few. Know who else got lucky? The banks handling the loans, who made around $10 billion in fees. Remember now, the banks weren't doing the loans themselves, they were just the middlemen between businesses and the government, effectively getting their own bailout. Kind of like in 2008. After thousands voiced their discontent, out popped Treasury head Steven Mnuchin.
Let me be clear. There were some companies who accessed the program who shouldn't have. But let me be clear. There will be no penalties on those companies if they return the monies. But let me be clear. If they don't return the monies, there will be severe consequences. But let me be clear. It's still cool if they return the money.
Who better to talk about fiscal responsibility than Mr. Mnuchin, who not too long ago managed to Mnuchin taxpayers' money to pay for a private jet to fly him and his wife on a luxurious European vacation. Sunset wishes and caviar dreams. Speaking of sunsets, let's take a look at the weather with our resident meteorologist, Connie Cloud.
Weather, 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 it's weather with Connie Cloud.
Well, thanks, Ed. Floridians can kiss the COVID away with 7 straight days of glorious sunshine, while Georgia can expect blue, blue skies. Back to you, Ed.
That's great, but what about the 48 other states?
Well, those states are still on lockdown, Ed, so it doesn't matter what the weather is, because we're all inside.
Right you are. Well, thanks, Connie. On to homeschooling now, and the millions of regular parents who've been turned into teachers overnight. But how effective is this remote learning? And is there a remote chance it'll work? Take Republican Senator from California, Devin Nunes, who decried school closures, saying, it's possible kids could have went back to school in 2 weeks. Sorry, Nunes, that's a fail. And grammar is not the only casualty. Mathematics is also at risk. Trigonometry? Not for this reporter. Although, given the fact that most adults out and about in public seem to have no idea how many feet go into 6 feet, social distancing, hint, it's 6. Perhaps traditional schooling hasn't been that great either. Well, join us next time on ENN with Ed Neusbit. For all the news you never knew you needed, I'm Ed Neusbit. Cheerio.
We're clear, Ed.
Back to that shopping list, Jeremy. Now, we need bread, milk, toilet paper, hydroxychloroquine, flashlights. Forgetting anything?
How about a miracle, Ed?
Well, it'll be a miracle if I find any toilet paper left, won't it?